KEF Connect, conversations that matter. Tune in every week for interviews with industry trendsetters and community changemakers that will instill inspiration and ignite action. Visit www.kefholdings.com and click KEF Connect to listen.
Hello everyone, and welcome to another episode of KEF Connect. So KEF Connect is introducing conversations that matter through podcasts, interviewing community heroes across the country. You guys have nominated these community heroes, and I have the pleasure of sitting with them, interviewing them, and finding out exactly why they were nominated and why they have that title of community heroes. So just a little bit about KEF Holdings, who is the corporation behind KEF Connect. KEF Holdings is a family-owned company that always believes in giving back. I'm talking about hospitals, education, even when it comes to their own workforce. So they are the true driving force behind these podcast series, and I have the pleasure of being the host this season for the Community Heroes Special. Again, my name is Saleh Al Braik, the host of Season 1 of KEF Connect for the Community Heroes edition, and today I am sitting with a amazing group of people that represent Emirati Marshals, and we are going to delve into who exactly is Emirati Marshals and who the individuals that are sitting with me are. So let's kick it off. First and foremost, if you guys can please introduce yourselves to our listeners.
Thank you, Saleh. We're happy to be here. My name is Mohammed Sayed, known as Kojak, and I'm one of the senior leaders at the Emirati Marshals program.
Welcome.
Hi, my name is Mariam Al Amri. I am a volunteer with Emirati Marshals program. I'm holding Dubai and Northern Emirates group for the programs that we are holding right now.
Welcome.
My name is Khulud Abdullah. I am a manager of National Screening Center in Sharjah. I am a volunteer with the Emirati Marshal program.
So you guys have mentioned quite a few things that you even mentioned a few Emirates. So there's zones. So just explain to our listeners why is that, and maybe let's take it back and explain what exactly is Emirati Marshals. And am I pronouncing it right? It is Emirati Marshals, right?
Yes, Emirati Marshals. Actually, Emirati Marshals started as a group of, I would say, individuals who noticed that in most of the events, especially sports events, you don't see a lot of Emirati volunteers.
Yeah.
You might see sometimes international volunteers or a lot of expats, but not Emiratis. So it was a thought of a group of, I would say, guys, Emirati guys, who thought that why we're not there.
Yeah.
We want to be there. I don't think we have anything that we miss for not being there.
Yeah.
We have all the qualities. So it started as Emirati Marshals team, and it actually started in a Formula One race.
Okay.
So
in Abu Dhabi.
it was in 2009. So they were volunteers as marshals in 2009 in the first Formula One race in Abu Dhabi, in the UAE, and from there the idea started. So the focus was to get more guys and more, I would say, Emiratis into marshalling in the Formula One race. In a few years, we had, I would say, a good number, good increase. I joined them in 2012.
Okay.
So I'm stuck with them since then. And
You're a veteran. Yeah.
And then the focus got out of just Formula One races, got out to motorsports in general. From there into sports in general. So we thought, why there is no, I would say, a team or a program or a group that is focused into volunteering in sports.
Very cool.
We have a lot of people who volunteer in charity, who volunteer in government events, but no one was specialized in sports in general.
Yeah.
So we thought, we want to start that.
Yeah.
And UAE is very, very active in sports events, hosting a lot of big events. So we thought we want to be part of that.
Very cool.
And this is where all it began. And thankfully in 2017, we became a program under Abu Dhabi Sports Council. So we lead the volunteers in all of their events. And at the same time, we're open to be part of a lot of other events around the country. You asked a question, why we have zones. At the beginning, we didn't have that, but it's really, really busy to deal with a lot of volunteers and many different, and the full 7 events, I would say. So we thought we need to divide it. So we have Abu Dhabi group, we have Al Ain group, and then I'm leading the Dubai and North Emirates group.
Which is a pretty big,
Yes.
pretty big group to deal with. I would want to ask first, before we move on to the ladies with us as well, since you took the lead, why is it that you joined as a marshal in the very beginning? What was that reason that you wanted to join?
Well, for me personally, I was very active in volunteering. You know that.
Yeah.
We've shared some of experiences in volunteering.
Yeah, for those who are listening and know myself and Kojak, and the reason why he said that is because he has a huge fan base of Emirat in the UAE, and that's mainly because this is all by coincidence, by the way. I did not know that he was going to walk around the corner and that he was going to be interviewed today, but we have crossed paths many times, alhamdulillah, through a lot of volunteering initiatives that we've had, which is over 10 years ago. So now he's probably surprised by all the white hair that has grown on my beard, but time has not been kind to me. But this guy is the legit emphasis of what a volunteer is. I've seen him work. I've seen how he kind of contributes to society without even asking for anything in return. So honestly, just the fact of knowing that you are a part of this is, I think, such a proud moment for me to see that there's still things like this taking place, and that there's still kind of hope out there for many more people to join. Because you mentioned something about in the beginning where it was hard to for a lot of Emiratis to find ways to volunteer, whether it was at events or not. And I was one of them. There wasn't kind of like a platform or a program that we could sign up. It was more like we ask friends, and that's how we know each other. It was like there weren't any WhatsApp groups back then. So there wasn't a way to kind of get the word out. It was literally you pick up the phone, you call, and you're like, dude, there's this thing happening, let's sign up, I need. And then that's how the whole generation came together through these things. So going back to what you were saying, Mohammed, you were talking about the reasoning why you joined in the first place.
So in one of the events, there were like the person who started, I would say, the idea of Emirati Marshals, Mohammed Al-Shatri. So we were in a volunteering activity, and he shared the idea that there is a Formula 1 race, we're doing this and that, so why don't you join? Like, okay, that's a new experience. Let's try something new. And that's the reason why I started with them. And since then, I've been there. We're working every year, doing a lot of working in different programs and events, and it's really going very well, I would say.
How about now letting the ladies have some airtime with us? How about you guys, whichever wants to start first, about the reason as to why you joined Emirati Marshals?
Okay, I would start. Basically, I think I've completed only 1 year with them, but I'm so glad that I have this chance to be a part of this group, because I've learned a lot, really a lot, because 1 year ago, I was a very shy person. I I didn't like to talk to people, join social programs. I was too shy, even in school.
Yeah.
But after this year, this year, after completing 1 year with them, I changed a lot. I knew new people. I knew how to contact with these type of people. I learned a lot. So I am a university student, so this is important to me that I should be social with people, especially when I'm studying international relations in the university. So this attitude must be with me.
Yeah.
I think it's important to me.
Of course.
So yes, that's what I learned, and I'm so happy that I got this chance to be a part with them.
That's such a perfect explanation and a reason to join something in a program like this. There are so many people that I know personally that were kind of in their own bubble.
Yes.
And I think to share maybe a personal quick story, when I had come back, I spent about 5-6 years in the United Kingdom, and I was studying, and I came back. And at that time, a lot of my school friends were still either studying abroad or they weren't in the country, or I had lost touch. So I personally didn't know any. I didn't have it. I know it sounds funny. I didn't have Emirati friends. I had my family, but they don't count. Those are friends given to you, by force. But I joined in my first job, and there were a lot of Emiratis around me, and I actually was nervous because I thought to myself, I've been abroad for 6 years. I hardly came back.
Yes.
So is there people like me? Is there like-minded? And if you can believe it or not, I was quiet. I actually had 5-6 years in the UK, and I actually didn't go out much, and I was a nerd. I just stayed and I studied, and that was it. And so when I had come back, I wasn't very social. And Mohammed, it's very hard to believe this, because I think the moment he met me until now, I'm social. But there was a time where I wasn't social at all. And then I remember I was searching on Google at the time how to volunteer, and I wanted to get involved in volunteering, and it wasn't online. It was through a friend who told me. Subhanallah, my colleagues and Kojak knows all of them. They all were asking me, and they said, "Oh, we saw that you were volunteering. Can we join next time?" And I think it was with Dubai Cares at that time. Subhanallah, I started talking, and that was it, and now I never shut up. So it really helped. It really helped, at least. I think that's also why they chose me for this gig, was because talking is one of my strong suits. But I really do think it's important.
Yes.
Well, alhamdulillah, you're getting to this at a specific time in your life, because it is going to affect. When I started getting into programs that involved volunteering, and I came with like-minded people, it didn't matter where they were from, but the most important thing was that they were like-minded. That's when my personality came out, and it's really helped me. Inshallah, all the best from this moment on.
Something to add with Maryam, I think for a person who started very shy, now she's leading the admin team of the Dubai and North Emirates. And the main, I would say, role of the admin team is to connect with volunteers, connect with the leader, and that's a lot of communication.
Of course.
For a shy person, I think that's
so now
accomplishment.
We can't say shy anymore. That was the old Maria. Okay, moving on.
Okay. For me, my passion in volunteering was from 6-7 years ago.
Okay.
It started with my cousin. We just volunteered, and I liked it very well. Then we every year we volunteered. I met Emirati Marshal program last year. They believed in me. In the first event I was with them, they make me as a leader. And then I worked with them. I completed with the Emirati Marshal because they are as one family. We are as brothers and sisters, and everything's I can talk freely with them, explain everything to them. They can understand me very well. So that's why I like Emirati Marshal program very well, to be a volunteer and a marshal with them. So this is why I volunteered with the Emirati
Perfect.
Marshals.
It's like a family, more
Yes,
or less, that it has
exactly.
turned into. So you mentioned, you guys have mentioned to me that you started off, obviously, when it comes to events, primarily in sports. 2020 came, and there is no sport events happening, at least as far as I know, and maybe on someone's PlayStation, but that's about it. But so, what happened to the program? Did it stop during this year, or did something else take place?
Well, we thought we might stop for whatever is happening, but a chance, I would say, came up. We received, I would say, a need that there are volunteers needed with something related to COVID-19.
Yeah.
It started with the testing centers. So they wanted to start COVID-19 testing centers around the country, and they needed volunteers with them to support the employees, the doctors, and the full team that are there. So for passionate people about volunteering, when a chance like this comes that you really can give back to the country and something very, very special and important, of course, I don't think anyone would say no.
Of course.
So I remember it started in Abu Dhabi, I remember, and then I received a call from my friend, and he told me, get ready, in a few days there will be a center in Dubai, and you need a team for that. Work it out. So, of course, there's a trust in the experience and the connections that we have with a lot of people. And within one day, we kind of communicated. Mariam was part of the team, and we created the team for that center. And then it became 2 centers in Dubai. And then they told me, okay, you have from Sharjah to Fujairah. Let's find a team, and because there is a testing center in every Emirate, so we needed a team in every center. And the number of volunteers were different from, I would say, I think 15 to 30 based on the place.
Wow.
And that's how actually it started. And it's going very well.
What was the response, though? Because you said something where I think it's so, a lot of people might not know, but as Emiratis, when you said the thing about when it's a need or when something comes that is for the country, it doesn't matter what it is, that we're there, and we're the first ones to kind of put our hands up and volunteer. Was it easy? You said it wasn't within a day for the Dubai one, the one that you were talking about. But considering the times we live in, and we're all, it was a lot of uncertainties. We don't know about the pandemic, what was happening.
Yes.
I know my family is always concerned when I go to the office every day, and they keep on telling me, do I sanitize my whole body on the way back? These things happen. So how was the reception from the people, like the volunteers that you were calling? How was their feedback? Was it positive? Were they also like, yes, sign me up? Or did some of them kind of push back in the beginning?
So there were some of them that want to participate and being in this pandemic with us, and others were afraid on their families, of course, because they have old parents and people who have chronic disease or something. So it was 2 different types. Everyone wants to be part of it, but they have different theories or different things. So but all of them, like we just tell them we can do it. We take the المعايير.
Yes, you motivate them.
Yeah,
of course.
and we tell them that you can do it. You can wear the mask, keep a distance, sanitize every time. And even if you were not in this place, you will be, for example, on the mall, anywhere. So the COVID-19 is not should be in the center only. It's everywhere. So you should take care everywhere.
Yeah,
that's why.
it's such a beautiful thing to see, and I know a lot of my colleagues who are not non-Emiratis. Every time they tell me, they say, even in a time like this, when we go to these screening centers, there are these young Emiratis, and no dig at you, Muhammad, but they were like young Emirati women that were ready there, and they were ready to kind of volunteer and to direct people about where to go, and they were all so proud.
Yes.
The amount of non-Emiratis, so I would say residents that live in Dubai, were one thing when I asked them, what is the one thing that you felt? They said, we felt either thankful or we felt pride. We felt that we were taken care of.
Exactly.
So I think having, I know it sounds something that's so simple, but having that Emirati touch, you know, of seeing Emirati youth at these screening centers calm people down.
Exactly.
I personally, I think I don't know, I hope no one goes through testing, but I personally have gotten tested a couple of times. You know, we've had a few scares in the office. So, because I live also with my family, so I just want to make sure that everything's okay. And, you know, my first time I was quite nervous. I didn't know what to expect. And I went to the driving center in City Walk. And so here in Dubai, so I had gone through, and immediately the two girls that were there, you know, because you're wearing a mask, so you hardly recognize
Yes.
people. So I had given them my Emirates ID, and immediately they were like, we like your Instagram pictures. And I kept on thinking, I was like, what? I was like, what a weird thing to hear. And I'm like, who? And then we started having a conversation, and I felt so calm. And you know, like it's you would never get that if you were in other places in the world. In the world, they probably would tell you like, you know, yalla, come on, you know, move on, go quickly, move past the line. But to someone to like kind of calm you down and make a conversation, make you laugh, say something that is, you know, that is comforting, or even the way I saw them in my rear view mirror with other people, you know, directing, so calm, so professional. You know, these are the things that actually make a huge difference that they might not know.
Yeah.
They think that they're just being there, but for people going through this might not even leave their house. They're literally only leaving to come to this place. The first person they see is you guys. It's a true comfort for most people. So knowing about how it has changed, I just wanted to know, maybe a question for each of you is, what are some of your, or if you have, I would say, a personal story or an experience that you've had with Emirati Marshals? It doesn't have to be this year, can be at any time. But what is something that I think one of the moments where you really felt good about what it is that you were doing, or it was when you had this moment, you just really felt a lot of pride in it? Whoever wants to start.
Well, I can say there are a lot of moments actually. I usually feel that moment of pride at the last day of every event. Because you see everyone happy, you see the appreciation of the organizers, I would say. You see the amazing connection between the volunteers that I would say وايد اقول I would say صح.
ترى ناس ملوا من الكلام بعد.
Okay. And how the volunteers are really connecting with each other. You see a lot of potential friendships that are moving, and those for me are all pride moments. But the feeling that we have now, every time I go to any testing center, I see the volunteers there, and how they are happily volunteering. Some of the volunteers are there for now, I think 7-8 months.
Wow.
Yeah.
And this is you
full
guys
dedication.
This is you guys taking time out of your, I mean, there's a lot of people in your generation,
Yeah.
especially, you know, people who are university still, يعني, that would most likely, I mean, okay, maybe now go out and go to the mall,
Yes.
but could be doing other things. But you guys are dedicating your full time. How long is that sometimes? Like when you say that person has been there 7 months, is it 10 hours of the day, 8 hours of the day?
Yes, most of them is 10 hours of the day. If they, for example, we started 8 hours per day. So then they extend to 10 hours per day. The people who are from the beginning with us, they want the full-time shift. They don't like to have only 5 hours from 10 to 3. They would like to spend more time with us and stay more. If I said for them just leave and go have a rest or even just to sleep, they say, no, I want to stay here. Why you want me to leave? I want to stay more. So yeah, most of the volunteers would like to stay more time with us.
So for me, hearing that from a volunteer is a proud moment.
Yeah.
Like, I think we struggle now to ask them to rest. Like, any employee, after a few months, he needs few days to rest.
Yeah.
Adrenaline that you get and the sense of pride, and it's such a, I think it's, you get like positive endorphins. It's a happy thing that you experience, and I think that's mainly why people don't want to go.
Yes, of course.
It's, you kind of also, I think, get addicted in a good way,
Yeah.
that you are looking forward to your next shift. At least that's from what I remember. And then at the end day, you sense pride, but you also sense that sadness in the sense of, so when is my next moment that I'm going to, volunteer? So I completely understand.
Even in the centers, the volunteers feel that the members that are with them, like, they're family members, so they don't want to leave them.
Yes, of course, because you're making friendships, you're making,
Yes.
you're becoming kind of like a social circle. So sometimes it's also, yes, it's a job in a way, but it's also an experience you're
Yes.
having with someone. And the beautiful thing is that at the end of this experience, only you will have the story to tell that and later. Only that person that was with you, that stood next to you for all those hours, that went
Yeah.
through this with you, will understand. You guys could come to me and tell me about it, but it's not going to be as fun as if you go to each other and explain it as well. So this is also something so beautiful.
Well, another thing I would say is that usually, from our experience, volunteering experiences are like few days, few weeks maybe.
Yes.
The longest I remember was a month.
Yeah.
Maybe for us as, I would say, the leaders,
Yeah.
we need to prepare for a few weeks or few months.
Of course.
For certain events.
Sometimes days.
I say it depends on the event, but I think it's a special moment when you have a volunteering experience that lasted months.
Yeah.
I think this is the first time I see something like that
Yeah.
in my life.
No, it's more like a family or not a work, not a volunteering.
Yeah.
It's like if I sit at the home and in the home for 2 weeks, I just feel like I should go there. I'm bored.
Yeah.
I want to see them. I miss them. So yeah, it's very, very nice to be in this place.
Very
Yeah.
good. And what about you, ladies? Any personal stories that you've had in the program that you remember, or one of your favorite moments?
Okay. So for me, the moments are in the center itself. So with the patients and with my family, which is my volunteers. For the volunteers, they, like if I was absent for a few weeks, they just called me, how are you? Are you well? So they miss me. And this is very nice to feel like you are one team, one family. The other thing is with the patient that every time, every day, every an hour, every patient come and say thank you to you, and God bless you, and hope to have a good day with you.
That's beautiful.
Yeah. So hearing good things is very nice.
For me, actually, I don't really volunteer in the centers, but I usually contact with the admins. Like each center has an admin, so I contact with the admin herself. So I don't have a lot of memories in the centers, but still I sometimes contact with volunteers and have a long discussions with them. So even these few discussions, I feel like I want to know them more. I want to have a visit to see them, to support them. This might help them to be more supported and to love what they are doing.
Yeah.
To show them that they have a backup from a team that they want the good for them.
Yeah, and I think it's when you've spent time inside the program, you see other people that are, maybe first timers or second timers, and you see potential.
Yes.
You know that these people are going to be great at, you know, what it is that they can do. And I think looking back, I think this is what also, you know, with Kojak back I see back in the day, by the way, I'm still in 32, so I'm not that old, but we go way back, we're over 10 years, so it's those moments where you see someone sometimes, once you've been inside the eye of the storm, because there's a lot happening.
Yes.
I mean, now we're at the moment, يعني نحن we're all sitting down, we're all sitting around here, we're having such a nice conversation, but it is work. It is your time. You know, this is time that you're giving to society. It is sometimes stressful because it does depend. You have a lot of people depending on you, especially when you have leaders in the group sometimes, and when you're looking after specific zones, like you said, it is a responsibility at the end of the day.
Yes.
And so I just want to commend that, and, you know, say that you guys, just by listening, already have, you know, whether it took me back a couple of years, but have inspired me as well. And I'm 100% that people listening are being inspired by your stories, and I guess wanting to know a bit more about maybe how to get in touch with you, or if they wanted to follow your updates and see more, if you guys can share those details.
We have an account on Instagram which called Emirati Marshals. They can contact us there, and now we are posting our volunteering opportunities in volunteers.ae, where volunteers can register directly there, and we as an admins, we can contact them while we receive their names.
So if you notice, she mentioned the admin team.
Yeah.
As Emirati Marshals, to be honest, we have one of the strongest admin teams in the volunteering sector. Usually they are not, I would say, in the field.
Yeah.
But they do a huge work that makes it kind of puts a lot of pressure out of the leaders in the field.
Yeah.
So we don't like as any leader in volunteering, you face a lot of challenges with volunteers. When you have a strong admin, they take a lot of pressure from you, and you have a lot of more energy to focus on what you do.
Yeah.
So volunteering is not always on the field. You can even do it at home.
Yeah, perfect. I haven't asked this question, but I thought I'd quickly slide it in there. How many marshals are there in this world? just so that I know, because I know we have 3 amazing candidates sitting with me, but how many of you are there, so that we can give them maybe a little shout out as well?
Well, if I talk about the database, we have a database of more than 20,000 volunteers.
Wow. That's a lot, considering our numbers. That's an army. MashaAllah.
And moving around with different events, we see a lot of faces, sometimes a lot of new faces, or even the ones who come back in most of the events. If we talk just during the COVID-19, we got requests from more than 6,000 volunteers. More than, or almost 4,000 of them participated with us.
Wow.
In the past few months. And currently we have almost more than 2,000 volunteers are active during the pandemic.
Wow. And is there any requirements if someone were to register or they were to visit the website? Is there any requirements that they should have, characteristics they should have? Yes. What are you guys looking for?
For the website, volunteers.ae, they should have an account, which they should apply their passport copy, their ID, their personal photo, and some other details. So once they register from the website, we directly have their whole information. But some of them might join from Instagram or WhatsApp groups.
Yeah.
So we contact them directly where they contacted us.
Okay.
We ask them for
those information.
Yes, for the details.
Here, Saleh, I would mention something that is very important for us. As I mentioned in the beginning, our focus was on sports. And during the pandemic now, we thought that sports might not be enough. Now we have a lot of volunteers who are in the medical team, who have medical background. We have a lot of engineers or IT experts who are working on volunteering on their field. We have some volunteers who are, for example, experts in many different areas. So the future of the program is moving to finding a lot of opportunities, volunteering opportunities for people to volunteer in their field. When you have the focus on sports, we always believe that we need to be professionals and like professional volunteers and whatever field. Like we've been volunteering in different fields, for example, in the golf, and football, and Special Olympics, for example. So we always, and the idea is not just volunteer. Some of the volunteers, when they come for a certain sport, they get addicted to it, and then they move from volunteering to become maybe players or officials or anything else. So it's also it's not just the volunteering; it's about also sharing and the culture of sports, the culture of professional volunteering. So it's for us, it's not just volunteering; it's really bigger than that. We have a lot of people who are really amazing and have a lot to give.
I think that's such a good thing that you've mentioned, and something that I really believe in. When you have when you're exposed to different whether it's events, whether it's different experiences, you share the knowledge and then sometimes get inspired by that knowledge. I know a lot of people, who wanted to, like you said, you have engineers and you maybe have doctors, etc. They want to maybe maybe have other passions that they would like to experience. You could have them volunteering and say something that has to do with media. All of a sudden, this person then becomes a major, in media, and then ends up becoming someone that's in TV personality or radio. So these things, I think, also expose you to this. Otherwise, you wouldn't ever have had the chance to get exposed to these fields because you're, stuck in whatever major or whatever work that you're doing at the moment. So I really believe that it does expose you to these things.
Actually, Saleh, especially in the media field, I would say we have a lot of examples. We have a lot of photographers, videographers who were taking pictures or videos as volunteers, and then they got work opportunities because it was an exposure for them. People saw their work, and then they invited them to work for them.
So you're literally changing. You're not just changing lives of others, you're changing their lives as well.
Some of the achievements we like to mention is that now we have a media team that's focused on anything related to the media part. We have an admin team who's focused on registering the volunteers, the volunteering hours, and look at their needs. We have a happiness team actually, who's focused on creating different programs and initiatives for the volunteers. And one of the new things we launched actually is the Marshals Happiness Card, which is kind of a discount card for volunteers that they can use in different shops. So, and it's done by volunteers.
Now remember, everyone who's listening, you have to get screened and accepted. Not everyone's gonna now rush into the website and everyone's gonna hear and they're gonna want this card. I think if you write a reasoning for joining, do not type you want the card. It's a bigger thing than that.
Well, it's kind of an appreciation for the volunteers. Like after, we usually give it to volunteers who have spent some hours volunteering with us, and it was a way for some volunteers to pay back to those volunteers for the time they're giving, for the efforts
Of
they are
course,
sharing.
that's such a nice way to give back, and also for their time and the efforts that they're doing. Yes, it is a volunteering thing at the end, but something so small actually can go a long way with everyone. I just wanted to thank you guys again for joining me on this episode. I am so happy that this episode was done, and that I got the chance to meet you guys and the chance to even get to know more about you guys. I've heard a lot about you, but now I feel like I'm signing up after this. And maybe
You're
now
welcome.
that I know Kojak is behind the scenes, maybe there is some wasla that I'm sure all my listeners knows what that means if you live in the UAE, that he could arrange. But I just wanted, before I thank you guys. I just wanted to thank you guys who are listening for taking the time out of your day to listen to this topic. I hope you guys are inspired by this as much as I was inspired discussing it with these three amazing individuals right here from Emirati Marshals. If you want to get in touch, Maryam did share the information with you. You guys can hit pause, go rewind, listen to it again if you missed that out as well. But I also wanted to thank KEF Holdings for giving me the opportunity to meet these guys, and for appreciating them, true community heroes in every meaning of the word. But thank you again, the three of you, for joining this podcast. And I hope, inshallah, that this is not just the start, but your journey goes and grows even more from today as well. So thank you guys for joining.
Thank you, Saleh, and thanks to KEF Holding for such amazing podcast.